Welcome back, whisky fans. I've just realised that yesterday was the 13th of December, so maybe that explains somewhat as to what happened with that French whisky yesterday. Let's hope for something a little bit better today. It's time for door number 14. Quite in the mood for something from Scotland, to be honest. Let's see what we've got. The Macallan. That arguably most prestigious of all Scotch whiskies. Probably not the best, but definitely one of the most expensive and well known and most sought after. Although saying that, this isn't one of your special 18-year-old vintage Macallans. This is the Macallan double cask 12-year-old, bottled at the measly, bare minimum, 40% ABV. So I haven't had this one, if I'm perfectly honest, and that's because it's really expensive for a 12-year-old whiskey. I don't know off the top of my head how much this is, but you can get something that's much older and probably much better for the sort of money that they ask for this. So that's a really good thing that Master of Malt have put this in the advent calendar, because I possibly wouldn't have tried it otherwise. Smells fair. Let's get it in the glass. So let's see how it noses. So it's actually a surprisingly full and sweet and intense juicy nose despite the 40% ABV. Getting some really nice perfumed wood notes, as well as some lovely fresh green apple. Getting some really nice notes of Terry's chocolate orange, so oranges and sweet milk chocolate, as well as some raisins. And late on the palate, if you really look for it, there's some nice peppery oak there, and a nice sort of mineral flintiness as well on the nose. Let's see how it tastes. Again, that's really not doing too badly for 40% ABV. I thought that might be because I had low expectations, but still, on the palate, it's nice and it's sweet but light to start with, and then it's moving on to some savoury and slightly meaty sherry notes, and a little bit more of that peppery oak. So I do think that they've actually, I don't know what double cask actually refers to on the label, but I would imagine that that is probably some genuine Spanish European oak casks and some probably a lesser percentage of American oak casks. But it does taste like they've used some proper European oak in this, and I think it's worked really well. Some really nice juicy grape notes on the palate, as well as that chocolatiness that keeps coming back again and again. And that chocolatiness is really well integrated with the nice mature malty notes on the palate of this one, but it must be said that overall it is a little bit watery. I think if this one was bottled at a proper percentage, like even 43%, this could be up there competing with your Glenfarclas's or even your Glendronachs. I think they've really handicapped it by making it so expensive for what it is, and for making the bottling strength so low. They've really taken themselves out of the running. You can't really compare or recommend this over something like I'm not a huge fan of Glenfarclas, but even a Glenfarclas is better value than this, and Glendronach certainly any day over this one. The finish, I would say, it's light, medium short, with a little bit of maltiness and a little bit of those chocolatey notes that were on the late palate. So all in all, I think this is a very good, if overpriced, whisky that has just been handicapped by the people that produce it by producing it at too low a strength to really appreciate. But it is a nice whisky. So where does Macallan 12-year-old double cask belong on our leaderboard? Now, if it wasn't so underpowered and so overpriced. I try not to bring price into it when I grade a whiskey, because it's really neither here nor there how much it costs. If it's good whiskey, it's good whiskey. So if it was cheaper and at a higher ABV, I can actually see it being quite similar to the Bunnahabhain. But as it is, I can't leave it in here anywhere. I would say it's not as good as the Darkness 8-year-old, but I would say that it is better than the Benriach 12-year-old, even though the Benriach was 46%, and probably better than the Macmura as well. So for now, I'm going to slot that in there between the Darkness and the Macmura. So I know a lot of people are probably going to think this is a bit of a controversial review, because a lot of people out there really like their Macallans, and obviously a lot of people must really like it because someone keeps paying those prices. So let me know what you think of Macallan Double Cask and Macallan in general in the comments, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.